Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Matt Weber. Brought to you by Pixel Cut Labs.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Search Talk Live. As you know probably by now that we've kind of changed our schedule a little bit. We are doing it every other week now, and I think it's good because it gives us some time to find some more guests, and now we're running into a problem where guests are kind of like getting booked up, and
right now we're stacked up. Yeah.
So we that's the only problem we've had so far, but I think it gives us an opportunity to get more material. You know,
it
something
does.
That's not so we talk about all the time.
Yeah, and topics are starting to tackle onto each other too. I'm so glad we got a great guest today, because if not, we would spend this whole show talking about the new Google Certified Partner Program and Google Ads. Have you read any of that?
No, I haven't.
Absolutely crazy. And I hate to be one of those people that uses this phrase, the internet is blowing up. Like, people are really breaking the internet about this new Google Certified Partner Program. In essence, to be a partner now, you have to do what they say in their recommendations in the Google Ads account.
Yeah.
And some of the recommendations make no sense for every account. But we have to do a whole show on that, because that's incredible news in the search industry today.
Interesting.
Yeah, good thing we got a big guest, or else I would dominate that topic.
Yeah, so today, guys, we if you're listening to the show live, you can go to Twitter. You can do hashtag Search Talk Live and get your questions answered on the phone. I mean, on the phone, live on the air. We also have a guest that sent us an email with some questions that we'll get to in a little bit later. But why don't you introduce our guest?
Yeah, we've got a great show because it's a topic people talk about a lot, which is that last stage customer who are out there searching near me and they're ready to purchase. They're at the end of the journey. And we've got Florian Hubner with us. And Florian is an expert not only on local search, but on mass scale local search. I mean, he works with some giant clients, and we're going to find out how some of these really big clients do this customer journey. Florian, how are you?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be talking with you.
Oh, and we didn't mention that he's in Germany right now.
Yes.
So it's a little late for him.
Yeah, what time is it where you are, Florian?
9.
It's 9:30 at night, but that's not unusual working hours, let's say.
Thank you so much for doing that. Would you tell the audience a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. So I'm really proud to say that I would call myself a hardcore nerd. So my background is in computer science. And actually, I originally thought I'd probably be teaching computer science at some point in my life. But then after university, got recruited, worked a couple of years in strategy consulting for McKinsey, and then went back to pursuing a PhD again, in deep tech, working for Hasso Plattner, the founder of SAP. He was my thesis advisor. And then in 2012, I thought, okay, man, let's make a dent in this world. And I started the company Uberall that I'm also still running right now as CEO with my best friend, David. And we are focusing on near-me brand experience. And I think, that's why, I'm an expert for local search.
Nice. So today we're going to be talking about, what it is to what you need to do as a business. Let's get as far as near me search terms. So why don't we get into that?
Yeah, sure. So what we currently do as Uberall, we would say that we empower some of the world's biggest brands and businesses to deliver a memorable near-me brand experience at actually every step of today's customer journey, which is, as you would probably agree, very different from what it was 10 years or even 5 or 3 years ago. And what we mean with that is that we try to really have a meaningful connection from online interactions to offline sales. And for us, I really like this side a lot as consumers, to be in a position where we interact with the locations of the really, really big brands on a local level as if they were the shops around the corners. And near-me brand experience, from my point of view, really consists of all the online touch points a consumer can have with a physical location of a business. And, that's first of all, when people are searching, and that's not really searching necessarily for a brand, but searching for a service, searching for a product, maybe searching for a location. And it's an opportunity for brands to stand out in a highly fragmented online space and give consumers a really seamless experience at those touch points. And those touch points really are a lot of different platforms all across the web. So that's obviously websites, a lot of mobile apps here, talking about the Googles, Facebooks, Yelps, and so on of this world, store locators, search engines, all the mapping platforms, a lot of social platforms, and then also a lot that's performance advertising. So NIMI brand experience is really relevant for every business that has physical locations.
Yeah, I think you right there, you've just kind of expanded the show, because I think a lot of people think that the near me searchers have a simple journey. They see a Google ad or they go to an organic listing, they click on it, they go to the website, and either they do or don't do the thing that you want them to do. But it's much more complex than that. Those people are going to interact with the brand at many, many different places. Some you're in control of as a company, some you're not in complete control of as a company. What does that landscape look like? Where are most companies probably ignoring that customer touch point on that journey that they're not aware of?
Yeah, I think really, really early on. Yeah, and the good news is that leaves a lot of opportunity for everyone really to now be still amongst the first movers. I mean, we are working with roughly 1 million businesses around the world, a bit more now. But that's only a fraction of the location-based businesses out there. And if you think about it, the customer journey really at every step has these aspects. So just to think about it, when you search for something, that's really discovery. Yeah, and there you interact obviously with the listings of a business, or you go to the website and go to a store locator, and a lot of that has to do with getting local SEO right. Yeah, and that's a topic that in itself is oftentimes neglected, I would say, as people went from doing SEO for their websites to doing paid for their websites to doing paid local advertising. And so really the opportunity in building a very, very solid foundation of information and optimizing that for search engines with everything that's local has been neglected. And then there's more in simply feeding more information into all the systems, and that can also include obviously information that's more detailed around your businesses, what's on the menu today, or what's still in stock. And the next step on this customer journey is really when then the search algorithm of whatever platform decides that you are currently relevant for the person searching, they still have to decide for you. Yeah, and a lot of that then has to do with the signals that you leave in terms of how are you treating customers, or signals that other customers are leaving for the ones that are coming after them. So are they recommending you? How are they describing your service and the experience really that they have? And that spans social media and everything from FAQs on Google to the reviews that you can find on the Yelps and so on of this world. And then it's about how you do transact. And again, there's multiple touch points. So can I click and collect? Can I reserve a table up front? Can I even pay up front? And businesses are currently not so transaction oriented when it comes to this local customer journey and then really closing the business and all of that after being in store once goes back online right away and you all know that your smartphone pops up with a notification asking you to rate a business, but not only that, also to give more information. Is there handicapped parking? Is there free Wi-Fi? Do they serve cocktails and so on and actually then lastly, there's also a lot of possibility to really engage with the people that have come to your locations and build some loyalty. And there you see, obviously you can speak about that for hours, but I just wanted to point out that it's really many, many, many complex touch points.
So a lot of people think that it's just GMB, Google My Business, and their website. And what you've described is there's lots of other touch points. So now there's a need for a company to be consistent in all those touch points and offer the ability to do the same transactions that they're offering on their website at these other touch points. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I think that, it's often the idea of marketeers that people are interacting with the brand. And that's true. And there's millions and billions spent on national or even global campaigns to establish what your brand stands for. But if we are realistic, whenever you take your smartphone out of your pocket and you search for a burger place around you, the big chains are hardly popping up, because what they tell you on the big billboards is simply not in line with the experience that you have locally. And in many ways, this also stems from, people are not really searching for brands anymore. 80% of local searches indeed are unbranded, we found in a study. And we think that the information that consumers give to each other through recommendations, for example, is a bit of a replacement for what branding used to be. And 10 years ago, when you would come out of an airport, for example, and you wanted a specialty coffee and you would see a Starbucks sign, then you'd be sure that you get a decent coffee, maybe not the best one, but a really good one. And now your smartphone says, you know what, there's a Starbucks, but I'm not even putting that in the list, because there's 4 coffee shops along the way that have a 4-star rating or more, and you'll have a better experience there. And the point I'm trying to make here is that brands really need to make sure that they give you exactly this memorable experience, this valuable experience on a local level that they are trying to establish in their global advertising.
So give us an example of somebody who you think does it really, really well, and give us an example. And if you don't mind sharing, what's a journey that you've had recently where they just missed this opportunity to really super satisfy the near me searcher?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the thing is, I do not even have to pick on any brand to tell you where these things are going wrong. Just the other day, a supermarket around the corner told me online that it's open until midnight. But I went there, and there was a little piece of paper on the door, and it said that they have some internal meetings and closed actually 2 hours early, and so I had to get dinner somewhere else. Yeah, but it's a really frustrating experience. And what I really like about this field is that when I tell stories, everybody can relate. I'm sure you've had that yourself, no?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then there's companies that are doing it really well, and it's no wonder that I'm thinking of a lot of companies that are working with us. But I really appreciate that some of the really big ones are thinking these things through at scale now. For example, we are working with a lot of the fuel retailers, and if you look at a gas station chain like BP, for them there's many aspects in there. So obviously it's about standing out of the crowd, so that people literally make the decision to turn left and not right and end up at their gas station. But then they actually understand that they should not only show up as a gas station, but also as a coffee shop, because they serve specialty coffee in many locations, and for that they think very, very cleverly about the business categories that they use and the offers that they put online. And now they do also think about EV charging and so on. And when it comes to reputation management, they have a very effective strategy where they simply tell you that they will answer to any kind of feedback that you leave for them online. And that's fantastic, because yes, that does require a little bit of resources, but like in let's say the old days, where people knew that it's good to tinker with your website and all the structure of your website and so on to be optimized for search, and where we talked about SEO juice for the websites, the same applies to local search, where you really interact in the ecosystem a lot and build up this foundation. that really allows you to generate a lot of traffic.
Robert,
so they would
Robert and I manage
an example.
a lot of local, and I think Robert, you've got a couple of clients with some pretty good number of locations, and I do too. But I've always wondered, what is it like to manage local, the customer journey for Starbucks, McDonald's, so that has always like blown my mind. Like, who's responsible for that, and how do they do it? So, Florian, how does a brand like Starbucks, with that many locations, get the consistency of the information that you were just talking about?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I would claim that that's not reasonably possible without using a platform like, for example, Uber All. And the tricky thing here is, if you talk about whatever 20,000 Starbucks locations, and maybe, let's say, on average 30 to 50 platforms that each of those should be on, then suddenly you're talking about 1 million profiles, and nobody can really manage that. I mean, it's impossible to run around and update information on those, and it's even more impossible to do so dynamically. So when you go from the pumpkin spice latte to some Christmas beverage, and it's even more impossible to react in almost real time to the interactions that customers have with your profiles. And I think that when you approach this topic more as in you want to build a strategy for IMI search, then you really want to have a foundation in place that allows you to apply all the great ideas that your marketing department, that your customer service teams, and so on can come up with. Yeah.
All right, Robert. I'm going to put you on the spot, Robert.
Take control.
Robert, I'm going to put you on the spot. What global brand has the most physical retail locations, not counting banks or gas stations? So when you think about this local search, in essence, I'm asking you, who's got the worst job in the world managing that many? What brand do you think that is?
I'm going to say, since you said Starbucks, I'm going to say maybe Starbucks and McDonald's.
They're 5. That's guess? 4. Yes, Florian, what's your guess?
I would probably say 7-Eleven.
Oh, Florian gets it.
Wow.
That's right. It's 7-Eleven. They've got 62,105 physical retail locations in the world.
It's his client. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
It must be a bit plus minus, right? I mean that must change every day.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a massive spreadsheet of.
Isn't that mind-boggling? And if you're listening to the show and you've done a client with 100 locations or so, and then someone says, here's 62,000, make sure they're all right.
Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I'd be Florian. Help me out, man. All right. Well, let's see. We got time for break? No, it's not time for break. What were you pointing at? I'm sorry.
Florian, one more question about this. Why would a business show up on Google Maps and not Apple Maps?
Well, I mean, the answer to that is really straightforward, because obviously, those are two separate companies running two separate databases of location information. And first of all, I mean, they don't really exchange data. And then, if you create your location for your business in Google Maps, then it's not necessarily also in Apple Maps, and the other way around. And that's actually part of the complexity. All of these sites have different ways how you can create locations, how you can protect your location data from simply being changed by anyone on the web. And maneuvering that is quite a humbling experience. From time to time we do that actually in the company, that we simply to see what it's like, go through everything manually and try to also understand the value proposition of our listings product, which is one of the 5 major products that we have, a bit better. And honestly, I mean, nobody should have to do that.
So what role do data aggregators play in this ecosystem?
That's a very good question. So, I mean, the funny thing is that it's not entirely clear. And I think it's fair to say that I have been working in this space now 8 years full time, and we manage more than 1 million of those business locations, and still I cannot really tell you the exact impact that an aggregator has on your local search results. Yeah, but so what's really happening is that there's a number of aggregators that you give your business data to. Let's also be a little bit more specific here. You know, by now we have to be a bit more nuanced. Five years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, you could just say business data, and you would actually mean name, address, phone number, and that would be it. When I think of a really rich profile for a local business, of course it has name, address, contact information, but it also has opening hours, pictures, reviews, menus. A lot of attributes that you want to have in search engines, and all of that is really not part of the aggregator experience. So aggregator data is almost like phone book data. Yeah. And what they do is they get data from people that been distributed really, and that want to that can be people that sign themselves up for those sets directly, or partners in the industry, and then distribute it to third-party websites, which are really mostly the long-tail websites that your information can be on. And I think it's fair to say that this has some impact, because all those sites have some page rank and are being indexed by the big search engines, and then the information is digested, and somehow the consistency of that information influences the ranking. But it's a bit, if you ask me, it doesn't hurt, but it's a bit of a shotgun approach, and for sure it's no comprehensive answer, and definitely no strategy for a near me brand experience and for tackling near me search, and I would recommend to have that maybe in the mix, but not even as the first point on the list.
That's something I'd like to segue into a little bit here. Is I get this question quite often, and people ask me, and I try to think of questions that I get asked a lot, so it benefits more people that are listening. So let me go down this rabbit hole. So if a local business, they want to be everywhere. They want to have reviews on Google. They want to have reviews on Facebook. They want to have reviews on Bing, but they're not. They want to be on Yelp, wherever there's reviews, they want to be. What would your advice be to a smaller company like that really wants to have that presence?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, look, I also want to say if people are very talented and have some time on their hands, they can work it out at least like the first 1 to 3 steps. And see what it does for them, and then professionalize that further. And then again, there's also fantastic products for doing such things. So, for example, if you think about a product like Moz Local, that will do exactly that, and get you presence on all the major sites, and subsequently allow you to manage your reputation on those. And in the end, I can only repeat what I said there. I think what that does, it gives the oftentimes very, very talented business owners / local marketeers the tools to be interacting with clients online in a similar way that they interact with clients right over the counter. So I think if you are able to divert some of your marketing budget to that, then it's a really, really wise investment. And studies suggest that actually there's thousands of dollars flowing into shop windows, but not so much into this kind of online experience, while nobody really names shopping windows as the main reason to go into a business, but everyone has these experiences online where they cannot find something that they're searching for.
Yeah. Well, Florian, we have to take a break real quick. When we get back, we're going to do Who Influences the Influencer, and that's sponsored by Directive. what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, who influences you? Who do you watch online to keep up to date on the industry news and that type of stuff? Right after these messages.
Learning a lot from Search Talk Live, but don't know what specific SEO actions you should be taking on your website? Or maybe you've tried to implement SEO on your website, but haven't gotten the results you were aiming for. We've all been there. That's why we here at Pixel Cut Labs created the SEO Project Planner. It's a one-time project where our SEO team runs a full site crawl, overlays data from leading SEO tools, and manually audits every page on your website. We'll use our findings to craft a strategic plan that covers everything from your link building strategy to page-level technical SEO and content recommendations. The Project Planner is perfect for businesses that are serious about SEO and want to hit a home run by leveraging our proven SEO strategy. To learn more and to see pricing for your project, visit pixelcutlabs.com/STL or text STL to 31996. Pixel Cut Labs. Welcome to Page One.
Directive is an industry-leading search marketing agency fully focused on helping B2B marketing teams increase their results. If you're looking to increase your marketing qualified leads and decrease your cost per acquisition for search engines, I'd highly recommend you take a look at their site. We've actually had their CEO, Garrett Marguth, on the show, and I can honestly say these guys are doing some great stuff. I hear that they even have their own analytics system that lets you correlate your SEO, PPC, or content efforts directly to revenue. If you're a B2B company and thinking about switching agencies, or if you're in-house and need help, I'd give Directive a look. Visit directiveconsulting.com or call 949-214-4024. Again, that's 949-214-4024. Again, that's Directive at directiveconsulting.com.
Your website analytics data probably feels like this. But it could feel like this. Making sense of all the website data available to you hasn't been easy until now. Smialytics transforms your website analytics data into easy-to-understand, memorable photographs. You pick your own photo theme. Smialytics. S-M-Y-L-E lytics. Like analytics. Only happier. And it's free at smialytics.com. Want to know how your website is doing? Get the big picture with pictures. It's the easiest and most enjoyable way to understand your website data. No charts, no graphs, no cost. Sign up today. Smialytics. S-M-Y-L-E lytics. Like analytics. Only happier at smialytics.com.
Get your questions in on Twitter. Type hashtag SearchTalkLive and your question. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. Now we're going to do Who Influences the Influencer. Again, that's sponsored by Directive. You can go to directiveconsulting.com. Check them out. Florian, who influences you?
I have to admit there's not a single person that comes to mind. You know what I really like is
like
that
myself.
it's all straight. Yeah, there's now a lot of really great events. I love MozCon from Moz. I love Conquer Local from our friends from Vendasta, and there's really also a lot of basically wisdom spread at events like the Google Maps Summit, and actually the guys from Google are also fantastic with how they are thinking about consumer behavior when it comes to local search. Yeah, and lastly, over the last years, we have had some clients that basically have given us this kind of, I like to think of it a little bit like the Photoshop effect. You know what I mean is,
yeah.
I think the guys that developed Photoshop, have never done the greatest work with it, but then they've developed some tools and seen what others did with it, and that's massive. And same holds for us. There's people that have built strategies on top of our technology that are really mind blowing.
So
and I like that a lot. And in addition, as I said, I'm a nerd at heart, and so my morning read definitely is Hacker News. And sometimes you find things on there that are also super relevant for local search.
yeah,
Well, no one's ever mentioned that before.
yeah.
Hacker News.
Hacker News, yes, from Y Combinator. It's awesome.
One thing I used to, I really don't pay attention anymore. I'm not much of a forum person anyway, but Black Hat forums. As an SEO, I would watch to see what they were doing so I'd know what not to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I'd see the people saying, oh, I just got a penalty, or
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a value in opening up who you follow to not just people that you believe in who give the right thing 100% of the time.
Sure.
To listening to some people who throw a different perspective at you because they make you think of a defense or something else
Right.
that kind of deepens your understanding in a different way. Mm-hmm. Hey, Florian, we got to follow up on a couple things you introduced right before the break. 2 pain points for some of the folks listening to the show. One is duplicate listings. We talked about that path for the consumer being in a bunch of different places that maybe most businesses don't really keep track of. But what about duplicate listings on some of these other directories and places? Are duplicate listings really consequential?
That's a super easy answer. You do not want to have duplicate listings for your locations. And then again, also because the consequences are quite apparent. People are looking for information, and if they find a listing that's not the one that you are feeding the latest and greatest information into, then they are wrongly informed, and you do not want that. And also some of the local SEO juice that I've been speaking about, then evaporates as it goes to multiple listings. Plus, you do not really see what's going on those. So it's a clear yes. You have to take control there, and luckily that's also possible. For example, we offer that as a service that we, for your listings that we manage, look at everything that's duplicate on the various platforms and then remove it. And I explicitly say remove it, not suppress it, which used to be a practice, and I think some people are still doing that, but we really get rid of them for good. Because obviously every location should have a single source of truth, at least per platform.
Single source of truth. I like that phrase. Now, one other topic that you brought up right before the break is consistency. There's a value in consistency, but we're not too far removed from a day that we were all kind of very focused on making sure that if the address was DR period for drive in this platform, that it was DR period for drive in that platform. And that's changed. What level of consistency are we striving for now in the presentation of our business all across these different platforms?
That's a really good question and a fair one. I mean, ideally, everything is the same, and your name is the same, and all the abbreviations used are the same, and so on and so on. And you cannot really go wrong with that. But then again, a lot of these things are subject to style. And if you look at the various search engines, if you look at the various the discovery apps and basically social media platforms and maps platforms and so on, they all have different formats. And in the end, what is, let's say, good enough and really the best you can do is to adhere to every single platform and to their guidelines and to basically trust into really the semantics behind it. So if the information semantically is the same one, then it's going to be also consumed as the same one. But I've also seen over the last couple of years that we simply look to have the right conversations about such things and about the standards. And there's many things that are much more subjective. How some businesses want really their location name next to their brand name in the profile name.
Right.
So there's Starbucks on Main Street and Starbucks on Fifth. Yeah, but then there's platforms that really only want to see Starbucks there. And there's platforms that allow it. And suddenly you have this field of tension between what's your branding, what's platform guidelines, what's really helpful for consumers, and a lot of that, is not perfect, and we have to deal with that. Yeah, but that's also something that we take care of automatically.
Well, then you've got people who do that with ill intent as well. So you've got the natural issue, right? Yeah. Main Street Starbucks. But then you've got people who are increasingly calling themselves, let's just say, Tampa Pest Control, as if it's their business name, but it's not, or Tampa John. Right. Kind of going back to the old days of...
One really great example for that is locksmiths and what, for example, Google calls service area businesses. Yeah. And there's so many people that have been doing nasty stuff with this category and have placed themselves all over the city, so that when you locked yourself out of your apartment and you would search, you would always find them closest to you. Yeah. That now there's a lot of extra layers of security for businesses of that type, which in the end is a shame, And yeah. I have to say, you guys said something about the black hat versus the white hat approach, and I think that local SEO, as all of that is happening on third-party platforms, that we have way less control over and way less ability to manipulate than compared with our own websites. Yeah. Yeah. And the whole black hat SEO thing is way smaller, and I can only advise it's the way better strategy to apply what I like to call judo tactics, and to really play by the rules and simply make that better. And the levels of spam that we see on those platforms are relatively low versus what we see in bad information on websites.
Yeah. One thing I usually do when I have a new client come on board is I call it sniping. I'll check them on local, and I'll, see if they're in the 3-pack, and then where, see if there's anybody keyword stuffing their listing and try to report it. But lately, I can't. I mean, they've got the new form now, but even when you submit there, I haven't seen anybody doing anything to change it.
It takes an incredible amount of persistence and follow-up to get it. But I think it's still time worth spent, because if you think about what limited inventory there is for that very valuable real estate, in a lot of cases you got 1 out of 3 shots to get your client in it, and you got a bad guy taking up 1 of those 3 slots.
He's got 1 review.
And he's got 1 review, and he's not following the rules. Yeah. You're doing your client a service by opening up that inventory and reporting them.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. At the same time, there's a lot of things that are really low-hanging fruit that you can do on a positive side for your client to really boost them out there. And a lot of that, and that's an interesting thing also about local search, is not entirely controlled by what we or what you guys or the business owners are doing online, but you really also have to get all your staff behind it. Because I think the easy example is that, you can ask any customer to leave a review. Cool. That's half the story. Yeah. On the other hand, you want all of those reviews to be good. And you really cannot fake the experience that people have in store with something that you do offline. Yeah. And so, as soon as there's some traffic on online profiles and on what's happening, we see that basically the spamming approach is washed away pretty quickly, because also for the search algorithm and so on, it's really easy to determine if there's 5 reviews from 5 people that have in their life only left 1 review, or if there's 40 reviews and 20 of those are from Google local guides that have left thousands of reviews over the last years, and they come with a picture and with some text and so on. And I have to say that the ecosystem is doing a relatively good job there. Yeah? And so I like that we look at what are other people doing that's harmful and how can we prevent that. I think way more apparent for local search than for websites is all the stuff that you can do on the positive side to also quickly see results.
Yeah, call me crazy though. I mean, when I look at reviews, if I see 100% and they've got over 200 reviews and they're all 5s, I kind of I wonder if those are real. I would prefer,
you absolutely should. You absolutely should. But the thing is, that's also really rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really rare. I mean, so we did a huge study on reputation, and we call it the reputation revolution.
Yeah.
And we looked at millions of businesses and many millions of reviews, and there you can really see that you need an average rating of 3.8 to get some visibility. I mean, not that you get nothing otherwise, but virtually nothing. And that once you get below above the 4.1 ratings, you see a spike in views and conversions. And it's fascinating that I can tell a business what the difference in visibility and conversion of that visibility to interaction is between a rating of 4.05 and 4.1. Yeah, and that's really very, very tangible. And especially for the bigger brands, we all run around with these feedback devices and get asked, and they quickly gather feedback also from the super happy but only relatively happy or angry consumers. Yeah, and so usually you get a very diverse picture.
Yeah, I mean, I almost would want to have some not really negative reviews, but not perfect 5s. Maybe give me a 3.5 here and there, but at least it looks more natural. And to me, I mean, nobody's perfect. I guess what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's future tense this a little bit, because here's something that interesting is coming around the corner. You've got consumers who are wary of being tracked.
Yeah.
And then you've got businesses who rely on knowing where consumers are to succeed at this customer near me journey. What happens, Florian, when in the not too distant future, devices, browsers stop passing through location-based information that advertisers are so dependent on?
I think that I would phrase the question a little differently, and then I would answer that's not going to happen.
Oh.
Yeah, and how I mean that is, because we don't want it to happen. Yeah, I think what we will see is that there's a much more mindful storage of that data, much more mindful handling of that data when it comes to profiling and to really guessing all your preferences for food, movies, whatever. But the moment that I open my Google Maps, I want my Google Maps to know where I am. And I very, very willingly tell them my coordinates so that they show me the right map. And I think, that this is not going to be binary. There has always been this field of tension between the convenience that we want from a service and the paranoia that we have with our data. And trust me, as I said, being the hardcore nerd that I am, I'm very much on the I don't want to be tracked side. The moments where I'm very happy with being tracked and unfortunately also profiled is really the ones where I get a lot of convenience for it. Yeah. And so I think that sweet spot is moving, and I think it's moving to more mindful usage of data, as I said, and there's all the recent regulations that we see around that. But generally speaking, it's not gonna go away. And also with GDPR or CCPA, these things have not gone yet. They make ad targeting and profiling different, but don't really get rid of it.
Mark my words, this is going to be the future. Let me tell you. You are going to be searching online. When you're done searching, you're going to walk down the street, and there's going to be a billboard that, off your geolocation, will show you ads for that particular product you did search for. I guarantee that's going to happen one day.
I agree. Well, we've got something just as fascinating coming up, and that's Believe It or Leave It, Fabian, where we're going to tell you 3 things we found on the internet, and we're going to ask you to tell our audience whether they should believe it or leave it, and we'll do this. We'll do that right after this message from one of our sponsors.
Learning a lot from Search Talk Live, but don't know what specific SEO actions you should be taking on your website? Or maybe you've tried to implement SEO on your website, but haven't gotten the results you were aiming for. We've all been there. That's why we here at Pixel Cut Labs created the SEO Project Planner. It's a one-time project where our SEO team runs a full site crawl, overlays data from leading SEO tools, and manually audits every page on your website. We'll use our findings to craft a strategic plan that covers everything from your link building strategy to page-level technical SEO and content recommendations. The project planner is perfect for businesses that are serious about SEO and want to hit a home run by leveraging our proven SEO strategy. To learn more and to see pricing for your project, visit pixelcutlabs.com/STL or text STL to 31996. Pixel Cut Labs. Welcome to page 1.
All right, welcome back. Time for one of the more popular parts of Search Talk Live, Believe It or Leave It. Florian, are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready. Stoked.
All right, statement number 1, founded on the internet. Cell phone carriers will soon have the most valuable data about consumers, and cell phone companies will soon make more money selling data than selling cell phone service. Believe it or leave it?
I absolutely believe it. There's a huge carrier, that managed to grab something like 100 million subscribers within 6 weeks in India. And they do that by giving it away for almost for free, and they live off the services that they build on top of that and of the data that they have.
Yeah, I agree too. I think that cell phone companies are about to play an insurance company level of prominence in our lives.
All right.
Even more, now they know our payment data, where we are, everything, whom we're speaking with.
That's not.
No. Number 2, you ready?
Absolutely. Keep it coming.
Business level schema on your website is not necessary if the address on your website matches the address on your Google My Business profile.
Wow, that's a tough one. I would disagree. I would disagree, because then there's still the match necessary between the local business and the one on the website. And if there's something else, it's not entirely sure what information also ends up on the web.
Okay, so still need business schema.
Absolutely. Schema org is fantastic.
Okay, number 3. This is a tough one. Within 3 years, Google will achieve its objective of having the search engine results page be the beginning and the end of the customer journey for near me searches.
If we add some fraction to that, I tend to say yes. And I can give you some examples here where this is already happening. A lot of people that we start working with in the first weeks and months see that the traffic to their website changes a lot, and that is simply because we managed to get so much of the transaction happening directly in the search engine, we should have no vanity around that. Be a little bit careful how dependent we become of the search engines, but in the end, also not miss out on it.
Yeah, you can't fight that tide right now either. All right, it is time for our Search Talk Live tattoo. Florian, time for you to give us your simplest, most succinct piece of advice that you'd give our listeners based on the content of today's show. It's got to be tattooable.
That's for me obviously about local search, and it is that near me search is already 50% of the search traffic of the smartphones we have in our pocket, and you cannot get around it. So every business has to seize the moment, take this learning curve, develop strategies, hopefully with us, and then really give people a memorable and great experience.
That's a long tattoo.
I think you just took up all of Robert's back.
That's awesome.
The tattoo is near me search is here.
Okay, near me search is here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that'd make a cool bumper sticker. I think people would go, what is he talking about? Wow, that's really cool. Near me search is here. Very nice.
Well, Florian, I want to thank you for being on the show. We have got a lot of good information. I think people, I hope you have been taking notes and writing this stuff down, or at least download the show so you can play it back.
And I think a lot of folks are listening going, how important is this? And I think you and I share the same philosophy that local search can be singularly the most profitable digital channel for local businesses. Just nothing like it at all when it's done really well.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I mean, like, so many local businesses are using, paid has its place too, obviously. It's a part of it, but if you do your local listings and stuff like that, you can get a lot of free traffic.
A lot of free traffic. You really can. And I think one of the things we don't do well as SEO, some SEOs lump local search in with SEO.
Yeah.
And so by not dividing it out, it doesn't get its importance and awareness that maybe it deserves, because people kind of package it in an existing services of SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's been great.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Florian, thanks so much. Enjoyed having you.
Yeah. So we have a listener question was sent to us. You can do the same thing if you go and send me an email, Robert@Search Talk Live. We can answer these questions live on the air. This guy's been waiting a couple weeks, so I want to get to it.
And it's actually from Randy Lopez. And Randy says, "Hi, Robert and Matt. I'm just getting into SEO, trying to make the switch from hobbyist to diligent professional. Your show's been amazing in showing me where to focus my efforts and training. I was wondering if there's any resources you could recommend to build a solid foundation in Schema. Also, curious about what you would consider to be an agency's core set of tools. There's so many types of tools and options. I'm like a kid in a candy store, and that analogy doesn't do this justice."
I'm going to take the second question first.
Okay.
I have been a user of pretty much every tool out there, and each tool is really good at one thing. But for the last 2 years, I've been using Ahrefs. Simply because Ahrefs is a Swiss Army knife when it comes to just about everything you need. Content ideas, rank tracking, all that good
Competitor information
Yes,
is really
yes.
valuable. I agree with you. I think that's where I would start for sure. And one of the things you and I have in common with some of the people listening to the shows, we invest in these tools. Sometimes we'll buy another tool just to make sure that it doesn't have a new piece of functionality that maybe we missed the last time we had it. So we definitely commit to a tool as an agency, but we're also constantly buying other ones to try them out just because you see things from a different angle.
And I've been guilty of having pretty much all the main ones, your Moz and your Ahrefs and all those. I've kind of focused down to this one because, and kind of leads into your other question. If you're looking for what schema information is showing up, it gives you that information as well. It's just a all-around great tool.
And what's a resource where Randy can go to learn more about Schema?
Schema.org. Now, that's something I dove in. I've been doing for probably, I think, 5 years now, but I didn't really dive too heavy into it until probably the last 3 years. But schema.org, I think it's really important to learn your business type there and what is available for your business type. Now, there's different platforms you can use. A really good one is called the Schema app. I use that for some of my clients. It's a platform so you don't have to learn how to code it. But if you really want to be a valuable SEO, because Schema is the future, I believe, and I would go on the forums. GitHub's got a lot of good information. Let's see what else.
Well, we've had Martha Van Berkel on the show a couple times, and I think a lot of folks regard her as one of the leading minds in Schema implementation. So if you're not following her on social media, a good thing to do would be to follow her. She also speaks at quite a few conferences if you have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would say stick with JSON LD. It's a really easy language to learn. I mean, I picked it up, and I'm still learning, obviously, but I'm always learning every day. I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm still learning something new every day, I swear. But that's probably the JSON LD is probably the easiest to pick up on and learn, and you can look at examples of it. But really, once you learn the schema types that your business is eligible for, you can really pick it up quickly, because there's only a select few things I would pay attention to. Or obviously, if your business qualifies for it, is schema review snippets, location, geo-targeting, so you can let Google know, hey, this is what I do and this is where I am. I mean, you want all that stuff. But yeah, it's a really long question. I mean, to answer a short question and a long answer. But
and I'd say, Randy, too, if you're thinking about making that conversion to an agency, definitely invest in a good project management tool, because at the end of the day, you're selling your time and your expertise. Your time is your inventory. There's 1,000 things that you can do in SEO and schema, and you want to be careful that you don't do them all, because you're not getting paid to do them all. You're getting paid to do them progressively.
Correct.
And so measuring your output by tracking what you've done, comparing that to what you've sold, is best done through any number of really good project management programs. We happen to use Teamwork, but there's a number of them out there that allow you to track your time, compare it to what's sold.
Yeah. I mean, as an SEO, it will make you very valuable, because there is a lot of SEOs out there. They just use a WordPress plugin and call it a day. But if you know the advanced stuff and how to get, I mean, you can manipulate your local listings, your 3-pack, using that schema, and have some beautiful search results there. Just kind of like what we were talking about with Near Me, branding. You can do some really amazing things, and it doesn't matter if it's just a picture showing up in your search result. You stand out better than your competition. You know what I'm saying? In most cases.
I'll throw a crazy tool at Randy, and that's, to me, Google Ads. Because I think a lot of times people will do the organic research and they'll create this plan to rank organically without really having the confidence that that query is going to lead to a conversion or bring value to the client. And use Google Ads for, if you don't use it for anything else, use it as an experiment. Use it to confirm that that combination of words is really an expression of intent on behalf of that searcher that brings value to your client. Verify that, validate it, even if it's a lot of traffic and it doesn't have a lot of competition and all the things that make pretty charts in Ahrefs or any of the tools. At the end of the day, someone has to use that phrase to be able to drive your client value, and Google Ads is the great laboratory to confirm that before you commit to that plan.
Absolutely, because you can be totally off base, or you might have a client that says, I want to rank for this keyword. Well, you need to go back and see the data and say, okay, is this the right keyword that he wants to rank for? That's a great point to bring that up, because AdWords is a great testing ground.
Yeah, you hear me say a lot, if you don't know the target, the weapon really doesn't matter.
Right.
So get the target down first. I think a lot of people hop over that step in that, and they're not clearly confident in what the target is. Figure that out, validate it, be confident in it before you put forth your organic SEO plan. Yeah,
and a bit of advice, don't over-optimize. Don't keyword stuff your titles and all that good stuff. Make it look natural, and you almost, if you've written ads in AdWords, I think, to me personally, is a great way to get your metadata, your titles and meta descriptions. Because if your click-through rate is high on your ads, I mean, best practices is you have the keywords in your ad.
Yeah, and same true with your ad extensions in Google Ads.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, the reason you want to break out that data in Google Ads, why do people click on the extension or do they click on the ad, is because you're trying to look and see what captures someone's attention.
Right.
What do they gravitate to? And once you find that out, that's leading the path to the best metadata and the best copy.
Yep. Amen. Well, I think that'll be the end of the show, guys. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please send me another email. I'll answer the rest of it offline, because it is quite of a long topic and we're running out of time. But I want to thank our sponsors, Pixel Cut Labs and Directive. Go check them out, please. If you like the show, they are our sponsors. So check out pixelcutlabs.com and directiveconsulting.com. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, great sponsors, and thank you for their support of the show, and thank you for listening. And what a great guest we had today, all the way from Germany.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. I mean, we have listeners all over the world. I mean, it's amazing. You look at the analytics. We've got people, surprisingly, UK is even as small as the landmass of UK. We're popular there.
I've heard I'm very popular in Britain.
All for the wrong reasons. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think it's because I've watched every episode of The Crown. People can sense that.
I got you. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And we'll see you in a couple weeks, and have a good evening.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Search Talk Live is brought to you by Pixel Cut Labs, a 2019 U.S. Search Award-winning SEO agency. Welcome to Page One. If you have a question about today's show or would like to be a sponsor, email Robert at searchtalklive.com. That's Robert at searchtalklive.com.